Alright, so this one is on corruption of the soul and alignment, and how you can understand this to become a better person, avoid pitfalls in life, understand evil people and good people, and use it to your advantage. Okay, let's just take a quick drink. So, everything you do in life affects you. If you do a lot of things, it starts to bleed in. I'll give you an example. Just say you walk up to random people and you start a fight with them. You just start arguing, you start doing that, and then you punch them, right? And you start physically fighting with them. And you just do this with lots of people. I know it's a strange example, but imagine if you did that with lots of people. After about a week or a month or whatever, you would eventually, if you did that every day, assuming you didn't get your ass kicked, but even if you did, you would find it very easy to walk up to people and argue and fight with them and punch them, and you would get better at fighting and arguing. You would also probably get the reputation of being a bit of a rotten person. But that is one thing that could affect you. Similarly, if you, let's just try to say, do the opposite. You walk up to everyone and you try to help everyone. You try to always offer help. This can actually be a bad trait to have, funny enough. But yeah, you try to offer help to everyone. Eventually, you're going to become that kind of guy. That'll become your reputation. But also, you will feel instinctively and naturally that it's natural to just help everyone, natural to just do these things. Similarly, I do think good and evil exists. Of course, it's like mathematics. There is no number one in reality. In nature, there's one apple, or there's you can make the number one, like you can draw it, but it is ultimately it's kind of like a mental concept, so to speak. Good and evil similar, but at the end of the day, if I just walk up to you and punch you, I think that's evil. Or if you walk up to me and you say you need some help, maybe you've got some kind of car problem and you think I can help you, and I help you, I think that's good if I do help you. So I do believe in good and evil, and I do think that if you always have the opportunity to do good or evil, but depending on what one you do more will be the one that you subconsciously do. For example, if you lie all the time, subconsciously you will find yourself lying. That's a very very important thing to understand. Similarly, if you take the easy way out in life, you always again take the easy way out. If you buckle down, you put more effort in, you train your stamina, then the next thing that you do in life, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is a bit easier, and you'll get to that point of where you're kind of exhausted, and you're like, oh man, I'm tired. I don't really want to do this, and then your past experience will rush over you like a wind, and you're like, I just got to keep doing it. I just got to toughen up and keep at it. So really what I'm saying is that the things that you do start to affect tomorrow. They start to build the person that you are, which is why I say against things like drugs, for example. Drugs, depending on which one, but a lot of them can lead you to dark people and dark places. You have to talk to pretty shady people or go to shady areas to buy them. The people that do them are usually losers and very shady people. They spend a lot of their money on these drugs. They're addicted to them. That's all they do. They sit at home just doped out or high on stimulants all night and they don't sleep. If you start to do these things, that's the kind of person you start to be around and you start to become. Similar with another one would be things like casual sex. I believe in no sex till marriage, because the people that engage in a lot of casual sex, I look at them like drug addicts. You know, a lot of them, they're polygamous, they're around a lot of people, they've got a lot of diseases, I find. You know, the women look very old. They look about 10 years older because they're on estrogen. If the men are on testosterone, they look about 10 years older as well. You know, pretty haggard. Their hair starts thinner. It does all these bad things to people. So it's kind of like, it's like if anyone's played that game Fable, where you slowly start to look more like a demon or look more like an angel, depending on your decisions. You know, you've got that good and evil polarity. Again, dirty business is another one. You have to make your money through clean ways, and you have to make them through sustainable and clean ways. You know, learn how to make or get source all of the raw materials, all of the programs used, all the services in a very good, you know, holistic, proper, sustainable way, and offer good business and services to people, you know, at decent prices. You don't scam people, again, because then you start to think, okay, I could scam people. You know, maybe it's not that hard. Maybe I could just put up a fake listing of a car or something, and, you know, someone will buy it 30k, and then I just close the accounts or do something like that. You know, you'll have these thoughts, and you'll be like, oh, maybe I can promise these things and try to, you know, get people's investment in this company. And then I'll just cut contact saying you'll think these things. So you have to be careful with the pathways you walk down. And the opposite is true. If you start to think, well, okay, how about instead of spending this money now, I save it? Or how about instead of eating out, I start to, you know, how about I save that $20, $30 and I spend that on groceries? You know, you can get 2 bags full of groceries. If you know how to shop thrifty, you buy your oats, you buy I don't know, some juice or something, you buy, you know, some cheap meat or mince or whatever, and whatever else you get, you can get, you know, a bag or 2 of groceries for that same price you would have spent on eating out. And then you've got meals for, let's say, 3 to even 5 days. If you really know how to cook, you make a rice, meat, vegetable stew. That'll last you for, you know, you get a kilo of meat and put enough of everything else in it. It could be five nights of meals for the same price it would have cost you 1 night of takeaway. So these things, again, they are, you can train yourself to do good things. I study every day, and I'm increasing the amount, and I forced myself. I was like, okay, well, you know, I have to do this amount, I have to do these 2 things every day, and now I'm doing these 3 things every day, and I'm doing a little bit more every so often, and you know, sometimes it's more or it's less, it goes up and down. It's a routine and habit. You know, I'm training myself to be the person who studies. You could be training yourself to be, if you like reading and you want to read. Personally, I think most books are crap, which is why I write my own, which are not crap. No, I think people just write for the sake of writing. You know, they want to make a 300-page book that could have been said in 50 pages. You know, so I think that, but I don't know. I guess I read, like, you know, pages, and I read little bits and pieces of everything everywhere, so I'm always reading, admittedly. But maybe you want to be the person who reads a book. You know, you read a book every month or something. Again, you set that routine, and eventually you become that person who reads. You become that person who studies. You become that person who saves, because you go down a good path. Or the opposite way, you become the person who, whenever there's a problem in your relationship, you avoid it. And you shy away. You shy away from that. You know, I was that person many years ago, and eventually I became the kind of person who, you know, I started bringing things up, and it was uncomfortable for the other person and for me. But afterwards, it was better. It was that relief, because both of us knew, you know, in like friendships or whatever, there's, you know, problems or whatever. Both of us knew there were problems in the friendship. and then because I brought those up, it was better. Of course, that's how you lose a lot of friends, because a lot of people don't want to deal with their shit. But it's better to lose people and to have a better life and a clean mind than to keep people who are causing you stress and problems and all that. Another one is like mental shadow work. It's therapy for yourself. If you have these mental problems, these emotional problems in yourself, where you're afraid of things in your mind, it's always gnawing at you, and if you feed that, you feed the trauma, you feed, just say you have this hatred against, I don't know, you're a woman, you hate men, or you're a man and you hate women, or you hate people of certain races or whatever, I don't know. If you keep feeding it through bad experiences and bad thoughts, it'll get bigger and bigger. It's a spiritual entity, like a star that exists in the mental field. Well, if you work through those traumas every day, you just, before you go to sleep, or you just meditate while you're sitting in a chair, you just think, you bring it up, and you talk to yourself. You're like, why do I dislike this person? Why do I dislike this gender or this race or this whatever? And of course, I'm not telling you have to like everyone or everything. I think that's just as dangerous. Now here's the thing, you need to build an edge. I do think so. That's how you can use this to your advantage, actually. If you are, just say, you're too soft of a person, and you love everyone, everyone's good, but it's bad for you, and you have to build up the hatred, you have to build up the defense mechanisms, which is, every day you do this again. And if you can't do it physically, you're too weak, then you have to do it mentally. You have to say to people no, or you have to bring up arguments in the mind. And it's kind of terrible to bring up arguments in the mind, but you bring them up and win. Or if you fight people physically, fight them in your mind and win, and train and win. This is all depending on what problems you have in life. You gotta, if you can't do things physically, you do it in your mind. And then once you do it in your mind, you do it physically after a while, because you get more confidence, you get better, opportunities open up. But yeah, I hope you get the main point, is that corruption of the soul happens slowly. It usually happens through a lot of traumatic events that eventually then get pushed further by daily routines and habits and all that. And you can become a better person if you put work towards something every day. Well, if you do the opposite and you neglect those things, and you just every day you do bad things for yourself, then you become a worse person. So yeah, just take that and apply it to your own life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and of course, feel free to check the links in the description if you're interested in any kind of social, commercial, or other things. And of course, have a nice day.